wanted to get on here and touch base with everything that we talked about this week. I'm hoping you guys might find yourself a little investment or side hustle or opened up a Fidelity account to start trading. Today I wanted to get a little bit in on like the chemicals that are in our foods and all of our products and ways that we can try to avoid them. There's no way to totally avoid all chemicals, unfortunately, but there are ways to minimize your exposure. We just passed a bill to take the fluoride out of the water, which is like a blessing, yes. Fluoride, in my opinion, does more harm than good. It is a neurotoxin. They say that it is in safe waters, and at safe levels in the water, but do they adjust for everyone's weight? Because everyone's weight will make them need a different amount. What about the babies? What about the infants that love water? What about the water in our bathtubs? All of the chemicals in our water will seep in through our pores, in our bathtubs, or in our showers. So ingesting fluoride is not the only way to get into your body. You can get it through your pores, in a bathtub or a shower. So it is very important. If people want fluoride in their water, put fluoride in your water. But everyone else who wants to try to stay away from chemicals that we feel like do more harm than good, let us have that option, you know. There's like for instance, I went to my dermatologist because I was having skin issues, and he told me, he was like, stay away from anything that is scented, you know, like artificial scented, stuff like that. So I just use like Dove soap on my skin, and it definitely improved. He also told me to stay away from like very fresh smelling washing detergents. So I do get unscented washing detergents as well. That's kind of how I try to avoid some chemicals. I use baking soda to brush my teeth sometimes, because the fluoride in the toothpaste. So what it does is it calcifies the teeth. So that's why it's good for the teeth, because it calcifies your teeth and makes them stronger. But what people think and assume is that potentially you could be doing the same thing in your brain. It could be calcifying routes of movement and pathways. So it's just something that, as a human, I believe in Mother Nature taking her course, and every time that we try to intervene, it just never ends up good. So yay to no fluoride in the water for right now. Hey everybody, what's up? Thank you for joining. We're just touching base on what we covered this week. We talked about health, self-care, and financing and side hustles. So if you want to go back and see any of that, those are all under my lives. But today we're talking about how to avoid chemicals as much as possible. It's impossible to completely avoid them, unfortunately, but we really need to try to minimize our exposure. So like for instance, when you get fruits and vegetables, it's very, very important to rinse them well. There's pesticides all over the ground, which is starting to kill the earth. So if it can kill the earth, it can definitely harm you. So just rinse your veggies well and your fruits. The lettuce, you want to rinse every layer as well as you can, because the pesticides will be on every layer. And then and also just tell me if you guys have any like ways that you try to avoid chemicals and make your life a little bit safer. I appreciate everybody joining us today. So a couple examples that I've given on how to avoid chemicals. would be to use non-scented products, like when it comes to your soaps, your face lotions and face washes. Also non-scented laundry detergent. That will prevent your skin from reacting to any type of chemical. A lot of times I feel like people that have skin issues, it could be from your detergent that's an irritant. So it's just something to think about on this Friday. Everyone wants to live a healthy and safe life and avoid chemicals as much as possible. I'm trying to think of some other ways, because I'm like a anti-chemical for sure. What else do I do to avoid unnecessary chemicals? And then so now the big thing is the microplastics, which if you think about it, they say that we ingest about a credit card a week in microplastics. So that is going to be from, say, if you put meat underneath hot running water and it's covered in plastic, that plastic can leach into the meat from the heat. Heat on plastic is not good. It opens up the particles to be able to move. So that's one way you can get microplastics from your cutting board. I just changed from a plastic cutting board to a stainless steel one. So that's kind of one way that we try to avoid chemicals. Recently they came out and said that all of the black plastic big appliances are highly toxic. So if you have those in your house, it's time to replace them with maybe we just bought from Amazon some wood utensils, like the big utensils. Wood is a safe bet. Not always with a cutting board, because it can be semi-porous, and then say if you're cutting chicken, some of the salmonella and just some of the juices can seep into the wood, or if it cracks. So if you have a fresh cutting board that's wood, it should be okay, but it's just something to consider if you do go that route. The stainless steel has been working so far for us pretty well. So that, like I said, stuff like that, like anything where there's heat and plastics, there's a chance for it to bleach. Then like every girl pretty much wears tights for the most part. Well, that plastic polyester material being against your skin is not good. Your skin will slowly, your pores will take in the microplastics. So it's just like, it's everywhere and it's pretty much unavoidable, but we can do our best to try to minimize the microplastics. And then, the best way to really have clean food is to make yourself a little garden with all of the things, if you live in the right climate naturally. But make yourself a garden with all of the veggies that you guys love, or plant a fruit tree with the fruit that you guys eat often. And don't use any pesticides, let them grow naturally. Use outdoor water, not water from the hose, because that is full of chemicals. So that's something to think about. I actually just bought a tomato trellis, so I'm going to be planting some tomatoes this weekend. It's going to be my first time. I'm nervous and excited. So we'll see how it goes. I will update you guys on that once I hopefully get some tomatoes out of the deal. And then with the cost of food, having free food in your backyard is a blessing. Healthy free food. It's hopefully not going to be genetically modified. I don't know. I'm sure they do it down to the seed now. A lot of people that have gardened for a long term have said that the new seeds that you buy do not work in regular dirt. You have to have this special synthetic type fertilizer dirt for the seed to grow. But if you take a seed directly out of a healthy plant, then that'll grow in the ground. So that's like, God knows, some genetically modified nonsense. I just hate how it's unavoidable. It's not labeled well. They don't, like, you know, the government's great at just telling you what they want you to know. We want labels, we want honesty, we want integrity in products. It's really not too much to ask. That should be a given standard for people that support and really are the financial basis of the system. It's like, take care of us, don't treat us, or, you know, sometimes I even feel like they try to put these poisons in our food so we'll die earlier so they don't have to pay you Social Security as long, which is like, oh my God, if that's the case, we need to clear everyone out and start fresh, because they work for us, we do not work for them. It feels like that sometimes, that it's the opposite way, but it looks like we're slowly gaining some control. Like the food dyes, I've been knowing since probably a couple decades that the red food dye was not good for us, and that there were alternatives that they could put into the candies and the cereals to give it its color, or just tell us, hey, this isn't good for you, your cereal's not going to be bright red and your candy's not going to be bright red. I think that's something as adults we can all process and relate to the kids. We would rather have that information than them constantly putting it into all of our food products and us not being able to avoid it. So I'm pretty pumped about what they're doing in the health department right now. And then not only did they get rid of the red food dye, they did other ones as well, which is like, get all of that fake stuff out of our food, please, like, please. So I do love the fact that we're doing that. It's been a long time coming. I know that RFK has really been doing his research over the years. His wife had medical issues, and so has he. So it's just something that he cares about. He's been doing the research, and it seems like he really cares. So it's not going to hurt us from where we're coming from. They're, like I said, taking the food dye out, looking into the medicine that we give the kids, very, very young, a little bit closer. We are the only animal that medicates our babies as soon as they get out of the womb. I don't know, that's a red flag for me. Something's not settling well. You know, there's no like one medicine fits all, so why would you give babies all one medicine and be like, oh, now it has problems, you know? Or like, why can't they identify autism in your DNA if it's genetic? They can't, because it's caused by something. They talked about it maybe potentially being something that the mother is eating while she's pregnant, potentially red food dye or something of that sort. That's another reason why we need to get our food clean as possible. So autism, you know, like I said, the mother's body is feeding the baby, so all these chemicals are going to the baby as well. Or like, for instance, I have my brother-in-law has a brain injury, and one of my good friends has a brain injury as well. They're both completely different in the effects of the brain injury, and all autistic kids are different. So it reminds me of a brain injury, maybe like a neurotoxin to the child's brain that it can't handle for whatever reason, whether based off of its biology or anything like that. So it's important to try to keep the baby clean, and we can medicate them later if necessary, and if it's proven to be safe for 99% of the population. People just want choices. Like, we don't want to feel enslaved. Now that a lot of things have come to light, People are waking up. Hopefully the division in the country can subside and we can come together. They like to keep us divided. If you haven't noticed from the news, they like to keep us divided because we can't come together and try to defeat them. So they're doing pretty good on that. I'll give them that. It's like, can we do good on other things that are good for us? That would be great. The government is run like a terrible business. If any other small business was run by the government, it would be out of business almost immediately. So it's not fair that there's different standards for them versus us. Like I said, we have no choice but to be profitable, to be productive, and to contribute to the community and do what's best for the community and ourselves in the process. The government, in my opinion, are all bought and paid by Big Pharma, Big Corp, and I don't know who said this, it was a podcaster, but they said like a US senator could be paid off, like sell us out for $10,000. It's like, people that don't have any money, I don't think would sell out America for $10,000. So thanks, guys. We need to have term limits. Why do all those old people want to be sitting in office? Does anyone work that long in their life besides senators? It's not that they're there to do the right thing. They're there because there's a little honey hole where they can get money, they can get kickbacks. They're doing it for their own benefit. Don't ever let their big mouths full of you know what make you feel like they're on your side, because they're really not. Anyone have like any advice on how to keep our bodies clean as possible? You do want to drink as much water as possible to flush out the toxins in your body until your pee is clear. You're still passing toxins, fats, and just a lot of things that your body is trying to get rid of. So this is like just one of the points where we can learn, hopefully, how to take care of ourselves and make our bodies better. I think that you always want to listen to your body. Doctors are quick to prescribe a pill because that's what they were taught. I don't fault the doctors for that. You know, my MD, we have a very close relationship and I trust him, but he does tell me things sometimes that I don't necessarily agree with, and maybe things that he just learned in school. So like, for instance, if someone's blood sugar is high, usually they will slightly mention dietary changes and that's it, and then put them on medication. Where in diabetes, the diet is 100% essential. There's no medication that can fix diabetes without a change in the diet. So sometimes you can reverse things with just your diet instead of taking a medication which has side effects, which has chemicals, which has you know, God knows what long-term effects on your body. I don't know like what the long-term effects on a child's brain for Adderall, but I can only imagine that it would not, the kid would not be the same before and after. If, say, they wouldn't have taken Adderall as a child versus if they would, I feel like that would totally change their brain chemistry. And that's just my opinion. I am not a medical professional. I am an expert in nutrition, so I do understand the power of nutrition and eating healthy. It can really, like I said, you can reverse things. You can change your whole health status by just changing a few things in your diet. So it's always in my opinion, the first option that you want to look at is your diet. You definitely, if you get a diagnosis, like, okay, your cholesterol's high, well then try to reduce your cholesterol via diet. You know, like, you'll have to stay away from animal products, some, you know, in moderation. And like, if like for heart disease, if you change your diet, start eating more whole fruits and vegetables, and you drop a couple pounds, like, that makes a world of a difference. Like, and I just think nutrition is so important and so underutilized. Hey everybody, what's up from Belgium? That's awesome. How's the weather in Belgium? It's starting to warm up around here. We had a nice little spring, but now it is getting in the upper 80s. Our summers are usually in the 90s, so it is hot around here. But like, for instance, like, you always want to try to even buy, like, instead of buying things from corporate America, go try to find yourself like a little handmade soap on Etsy, or like, you know, non-fluorinated toothpaste or teeth products. You want to, even mouthwash has like really bad chemicals in it, so it's something that you want to avoid. You don't want non-scented lotions. I used to be like a Bath and Body Workser, like, oh my god, I used to like go around smelling all that stuff like it was heaven, but that stuff's really, really bad for your skin. So just stay away from like scented things. Use deodorant in moderation. Deodorant had aluminum in it. A lot are like an aluminum free base now, but aluminum, once it was on the skin, could, speaking of neurotoxins, or I'm sorry, toxins, not neurotoxins, could potentially cause breast cancer. Most cases of breast cancer are on the outside of the breast, and that is where the chemical of your deodorant is sitting all day. So it's about like moderation. I tell my husband all the time, he has like very little hair, a lot less hair than me, and he uses a ton of shampoo. It's like, you don't need that much shampoo. Try to reduce your chemical exposure as much as possible, because that's really what's gonna, in the long run, hopefully make you safer. So it's just stuff to think about. I do buy the aluminum free deodorant. I don't wear it every day. On like cooler days, I won't wear it. My body has learned how to regulate from the chemical being constantly on my body, and I really don't have any body odor on cold days, so deodorant's not always necessary, and your body will learn to naturally regulate itself without the constant chemical exposure. But then, you know, if you think about all the pesticides on the ground and stuff, like, that can't be good for our ecosystem. They're always talking about the carbon and the air. I don't believe that cows farting will kill the world. I mean, let's be logical here. I don't think we should eat lab-grown meats to avoid having cattle fart. I mean, that is just out of control. They, I guess, want to use carbon as the lead because it's something that is hard to assess and hard to measure. But if you look at the ground, whether it's in your backyard or at a park or even in the fields, you will notice that the ground is not as lustrous and beautiful as it was when you were growing up as a child because of the constant poison to the ground. And you know, that seeps into eventually the water system. Everything, you know, comes full circle. So a chemical is not just going to disappear. I just turned 39. I am Botox free, so I am a freak of nature. I feel like the oddball out because I don't do Botox. And then, so people that do Botox, they're like, oh, well, you have to get it redone every couple months because it goes away. Where'd it go? It absorbs into your pores, it absorbs into your bloodstream. Whenever you're pregnant, you're not supposed to do Botox, so that tells you that your body's absorbing it right there. I kind of use that as a standard, which means that you can't do anything. If you can't do it when you're pregnant, it's probably not good for you. So, like, I don't understand the whole Botox thing. Maybe one day when my face starts to change, but I'm just not gonna do it because everyone else is doing it. I'm glad that I never did. I know some people that do it pretty often in their 20s. Now they don't even look like themselves anymore, and they have a long road ahead of them. So just be kind to yourself, you know. Everybody's gonna age different. Yes, everything is toxic these days, even politics. They like to keep it toxic though, because it keeps us from working together and being a force to be reckoned with, you know? Like, they like to keep us divided. If you can't see that on the news, whether you're on the left, the right, the middle, like, they want to keep us divided. Division is their friend, because we will never come together and try to fight against them if we're always divided down the middle. So I will give them that. Their propaganda or whatever the hell they're doing on the news is fucking embarrassing if you ask me. But that's just kind of, you know, my spew for the day. We want to try to reduce our exposure to chemicals. So say they're like, oh, well, this chemical is safe in this dose and it's safe in that dose. They're usually studying it on rats or other animals, and that doesn't always cross over to the human genetic. So what affects a mouse might not affect a human, or vice versa. So I don't think that the studies are 100% conclusive. And then I also know in the science world that science is very, very corrupt. Money is king in science, like it is in everything. So say someone has a medicine and they're like, oh my god, this might cure cancer. What's Big Pharma going to do? They're going to sink them, because cancer is, I don't know, $1 billion industry. So they've been profiting off of our demise, really. They sell us foods, and these are the same companies. Like, there's not a whole lot of diversity in who we're buying these products from. They sell us this poisonous food, and then they sell us this poisonous medicine to fix whatever the poisonous food did to us, and then your medicine has a side effect, so they give you another medicine. Like, that is ching, 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 ching for them. Money, money, money. That's all they care about. And it's really unfortunate. If there was some type of competition in pharma and just products themselves, it would be great. I grew up in the 90s, and I remember there was competition, there was innovation, like people were motivated to get good products out there and do the right thing to beat their competitors, you know? Like, if there's no competition, it's just not good for the economy, for the consumer. It's just good for the seller, and they're gonna get all the money from that realm. So money talks, money influences things that we would never even dream of. I hear that they have a cure for cancer that they've been knowing about for a very long time, and also potentially for dementia, which that hits home for me. I've had multiple family members pass away from dementia. So it's just very sad that we're funding all this stuff that is working against us. Like, they work for us. Did you forget that? Like, you work for us, government. Like, so we have to try to stick together, not believe the left or the right news. Try to stay away from the news. Do your own research. Pay attention to what's going on and go do your own research, because they're full of it. So they're gonna make you seem like you're brainwashed and argue with people that you love over nonsense, really. So really pick your battles and try to understand the bigger picture, that we're all human, we all have families, we all want to protect ourselves, our bodies, and our families. And the best way that we can do that is by not letting the division keep us apart, but to use our common sense to come together and make ourselves healthy again. We've just gotten so far from our natural habitat. Like, for instance, they say that if you're outside, you take your shoes off, your feet being on the ground naturally detoxifies your body. Like, that's something that we've just not even knowingly disconnected from the earth, with concrete, with housing, with shoes. So it's good to get outside, get some sunlight, take your shoes off, put your feet on the ground, really connect with nature. Nature is our real friend, and nature is almighty and powerful. Like, just, I hate when humans try to intervene with Mother Nature, like we're smarter than the creation of Earth or the universe, really. You know, it's like, leave Mother Nature as it is. All things work out over time. Chemicals and changes to the ecosystem are not the answer. Things always naturally work out themselves, especially when it comes to the human body. Like, as soon as you cut yourself on your arm, your body goes into fix mode. The body is very, very resilient, so don't let the doctors tell you otherwise. Your body will automatically go to fix whatever is going on in your body if it has the means, the nutrients, and the power to do so. So that's why it is so important to keep your body clean and to try to keep your food clean, to keep your body clean, and it all just trickles down. It's a trickle-down effect. Well, thank you guys for joining me today. I really appreciate you guys listening, and I hope that we can all come together and make our country prosperous and safe and healthy again. And I will talk to you guys later.